It's a real privilege to be here today, particularly because the journey that we've been on at Schwab has been heavily influenced by the work of Bob and Mike and other researchers. So I feel really honored to be here, and hopefully you see a lot of what you're very proud of in your work showcased here. I'm very fortunate to work for a company that has really believed in the collective versus individual success. We do have a vision to be the most trusted leader in financial services. We do try and look at our business through clients' eyes. And being able to deliver on that really requires everyone to feel that trust and then that connectivity and that collective commitment internally. So we were predisposed to showing some recognition and gratitude, but we realized as we started digging into the research that it was like an iceberg, and we were focused on just that tip of the iceberg above the water. And we were missing out on the incredible potential to focus not just on recognition programs, which is what most of what we have been doing at Schwab, but to expand our view to focus on gratitude and appreciation. So I'd like to hopefully share some examples with you that show how we tried to bring that to life to really foster more and more of a culture of appreciation and take the shift away from that narrow view of rewarding performance to valuing people for the contributions that they bring to the company. While I do agree that we can't have it be top down, we did to improve or enhance people's awareness of the power of appreciation. We did begin by modeling the way at the top. Our leaders really embraced the bottom line impact of thinking about wellness and gratitude in client loyalty and employee loyalty and shareholder value and in driving client promoter scores and client loyalty. So at our 2012 senior leadership meeting, our then EVP of Human Resources kicked off the meeting in a very uncharacteristic way for Schwab. We usually begin with a celebration of metrics and accomplishments and major milestones. And he asked everyone to stop, take a look around, and find somebody who they would like to thank, not for a milestone, a metric achieved, a product launched, but somebody who had made a difference to you and to your team and to the success of the firm, or how connected we all felt together. And he began. And he was not known as being a very emotive, touchy-feely person. And it really touched people. It took off like wildfire. Hands were popping up, get me a mic. And people began just thanking each other in the room, not for, again, the result that they had achieved, but for the difference they made and to the folks in the room and to the company overall. That then went viral. That became known as shout-outs. And they are today still built into all hands meetings and team meetings, set aside part of the agenda just to focus on allowing peers to spontaneously thank and recognize each other. We also had a CEO that really has been very, very committed to this personally. He himself expresses a lot of gratitude. And when he was asked in last month's senior leader call, and these are the 150 senior-most people in the company, what the key was going to be to our continued success in attracting and retaining talent in this next phase of our growth, he said it came down to our culture. And what was going to enable us to continue in attracting, retaining the top people was to continue caring about people as people and demonstrating that. He talks about it internally, he blogs about it externally. If any of you care to follow Walt Bettinger on LinkedIn, you'll see a lot of this come through in his external posts as well. And then we also had some pretty amazing turnaround stories when people expanded their view of recognition to appreciation, stop being focused just on the metrics and what we've done, to appreciating the value that people bring. There was a senior leader who came in to really transform an organization, and perhaps not surprisingly, a year later, engagement results were pretty low. But she wanted to get to the bottom of that, to her great credit. She said, let's do a little bit of digging. Why is engagement so low, and what are things that we could be doing to help turn that around? I know we've been through a tough time, but I think there's more to it than this. And she was right. What came out in the interviews that we did with some influential folks throughout the organization was people did not think this new leader knew them or cared about them or understood the contributions that they made to the company. And I was really impressed that she really took all of that in. And she had been very focused on the metrics. She was hired to achieve a certain set of things for the firm. But she took a step back, and because she was someone in her personal life who really was about showing gratitude, she tried to bring it into her daily practice. She began carrying around a set of index cards that were focused on noticing and capturing things she was grateful for and the folks on her team. Things that she would then play back to them either in the moment or in a call or an e-card or even audio messages that she did twice a month or in all-hands meetings to just call out some of these things. And more of her leaders, who were also new to the firm and new to Schwab's culture of appreciation, they began modeling it as well. And while I cannot definitively say there's a one-to-one correlation, a year later, they went from being second lowest in employee engagement to second highest in all of the divisions in the company. And it began just by paying attention and thinking about what she was grateful for and appreciated in all of the members of her team, despite the fact that they were making some very difficult decisions as a business. We also saw, as we were digging into the research, that we were investing the vast majority of our time and resources on the wrong side of the equation. If you think back to the stat that Mike shared about how much people being rewarded for performance drove their engagement and their productivity versus how much feeling valued for what they did drove their engagement and productivity, we weren't focusing on the most powerful area, that whole behind the waterline potential that appreciation and gratitude had. So we decided to take a big step back. We had actually been about to launch a new set of recognition programs, quarterly and annual programs that probably would have recognized a few hundred people a year for great performance. And we had announced that those were coming. We went back to the executive council and said, based on all that we are seeing and hearing and reading, we think we got it wrong. And we'd actually like a 6-month hiatus to rethink and come back with a broader set of resources that show people how they can build appreciation and gratitude, to kind of just shift the mindset from milestones and metrics to valuing the folks around us, particularly because we were growing so fast as a company, and that culture of teamwork and camaraderie and all being committed to looking at the business through clients' eyes. As the company grows, you risk losing some of that. We had an opportunity in a moment in time to make a statement that we'll get to these new recognition programs, but first we want to focus here. And that is what we did. So we had to create a focal point, a hub for, we didn't have to, this is what we chose to do, create a place for people to come to learn more, something that would be really engaging and help us spread the word. And we ended up creating an appreciation portal. We had an e-card program that had been a fledgling program and just started. We had recognition programs that were going to be coming. Those used to be our only 2 avenues for institutionalized. If you need to be institutionalized gratitude, I'm sure we'll have a conversation about that over lunch. But that had been the focal point. We still had those on our portal, but they were literally surrounded by a host of information and resources and tips and tools that focused on creating dialogue around gratitude and appreciation and giving people a sense of how they could be expressing that and showing that in their day-to-day work. We also realized that peer-to-peer was so very important. And so we tapped into employee voices and the power of storytelling to bring this to life and help it go viral. It wasn't just from the top down. It wasn't just us telling them what to do. It was that free exchange of ideas and free exchange of appreciation and gratitude that we wanted to fuel. So on the portal, we had, at launch, a fill in the thanks. We wanted people to talk about, they felt most appreciated at work when ... What did that look like? What happened? And while we did see promotions, we did see awards come out and what people said, 85% of what people shared was not recognition. When someone tells me that I helped them solve a problem, when I get constructive criticism, this isn't even praise, constructive criticism means more to me than my paycheck. When managers follow through on even small things they said they would do, I feel like I matter. So in the words of their employees, their fellow employees, people around the company were seeing, this is what means the most to me, in their own words. We also encouraged employees to submit content to us. It could be things that they did in their personal lives. It could be things that they read, or they went to a conference and they saw this. Bring it back to us. We would like to feature it on the portal, and we did that. An employee wrote an article about a practice that she saw. 2 folks had also taped some video and sent it to us about the power of a good old-fashioned note that Mike talked about earlier. And so we kept capturing stories like this from our employees and featuring them. We also, in the research that we had done to find out what content would be most meaningful to people, or what might be standing in the way for people really embracing the power of appreciation and gratitude, we heard some common myths or misperceptions come up, and we thought, wow, I wonder if we have the opportunity to shed a different light on that, or to debunk those myths. And so we went out and we talked to some of the managers that were very, very highly regarded, had some of the most highly engaged and committed and productive employee groups in the company, and just asked them kind of what was their secret sauce. And without labeling it or even knowing it, appreciation and gratitude were just a part of their management style. And we asked them to speak pretty specifically about how it showed up and what they did. And some of them had to really think about it because it was just so innate that they didn't have a label for it. But ultimately, these stories came out. And a lot of them did debunk some of the myths that we had heard, that you have to be really good at it naturally, or it's not authentic, I'm not gonna bother doing it, it's not my thing. Or you have to have money to express meaningful gratitude, that we're just way too busy. Or if I'm thanking people, for just doing their job and they haven't actually been doing a great job, that's just inauthentic, we shouldn't be doing that. But these videos for managers, enabling managers to hear from and speak with other managers, really helped kind of open people's minds and take the blinders off about the fact that those misperceptions, or those common held perceptions, were actually not true. And these were some of our most viewed videos on the manager side of our portal. We also, Mike, shared a lot of engaging snackable tidbits from outside experts, bringing the outside in really highly engaging ways. We know that people don't have a lot of time, particularly our folks on the front line, answering the phones all day, speaking with our clients. So we were fortunate enough to get Mike to come in and videotape 10 quick segments talking about different ways to bring appreciation and gratitude into the workplace. And we posted those videos along with a little printout of tips and tools that people could kind of keep in their notebooks as they continued going about their day. Obviously, Mike, as you can imagine, has been a great draw to the site as well. And we also heard in the research up front, please make it simple. I really want to believe I'm getting it now. How do I keep it top of mind? How can we make it simple? And how can we understand that authentic appreciation and gratitude, and that is the key to it being meaningful, it being authentic. How can we show different facets of that gem? So something that might feel very natural to one person might not feel natural to another. What can we do to show the depth and breadth of what gratitude and appreciation can look like if it doesn't come so naturally to some folks immediately until they get their heads around it? So one fledgling program that we had that we really blew out was called Send Word. This is an e-card program that we created, and peer-to-peer, people can send it to their managers, to leaders, vice versa. It took off like wildfire, and every so years we have refreshed the cards that we have on here and the messages behind them. But in 5 years, 405,000 e-cards have been sent by employees at Schwab. And just to give a little bit of frame of reference, in those 5 years, we averaged around 13,000 to 15,000 employees. So quite a number that have been sent. And they continue to be very, very hugely popular. And people are wondering, when is the next edition of Send Word coming out? So we're very, very proud of that. When you choose a card, you get to type in a personalized message to someone. And it not only goes to them when you hit send, it goes to their manager. So their managers are seeing this as well. Every leader in the organization or every person that manages someone has the ability on the back end to pull a report of all of the send words sent or received by people in their organization. And leaders often use those in annual performance reviews to thank people, but what's been even more powerful are the leaders that have been pinning them up on bulletin boards. Employees sometimes paper their cubes with these send words that they've received. And a lot of times they're often used to call out in team meetings or in all-hands meetings the contribution and the value that people have brought to the organization, particularly those folks who are the unsung heroes, the Jimmies that you were talking about earlier, and it's really taken on a life of its own. We also, to the second point I had on that earlier slide about one size does not fit all, we've tried to pull in outside resources showing the whole spectrum of the ways that gratitude and appreciation can show up so that somebody looking for ideas can find something that feels authentic to them, or somebody that just naturally gravitates to appreciation and recognition might see like, oh my gosh, I want to add that to my arsenal, or tool belt, I should say. It's not a war. So this is how we have tried to bring to life at Schwab the research and the storytelling, the things that you have heard from Bob and Mike. And we've definitely seen a lot of traffic to this site. It quickly became one of the top 15 intranet sites visited internally. We have thousands of them at Schwab, so we're very, very proud of that. The e-card program continues to take off. Video clips continue to be viewed. It's been built into employee orientation. We are growing at a very rapid rate, and to keep this culture of appreciation alive and be able to deliver on our vision and values as a company, we hold this tenet of our culture very, very dear, and it's very much featured in the orientation. So I am out of time. So I will just thank you for the opportunity to share.